So with 5.5 minutes to play, O'Hay gets back in the action.
9-second differential. Purcell drives, she's got it!
And Brittany Sykes now, long range, gets the lucky roll!
To Parkville in Melbourne, where the stage is set for a huge game with massive finals ramifications. Last time the Melbourne Boomers and UC Capitals met, they could only be split by 2 points, with the Boomers getting the job done on that occasion. The home side comes into this one having won 4 of their past 5 games, while the Caps will be fighting to keep their home final advantage in second spot. Julia Montesano and WNBL Championship coach Laurie Chiswick with you for the coverage of this game. And Laurie, we're in for a massive game today.
Oh my goodness, Julia, it's really got finals fever, written all over it. We're finally at the we're finally at the last round 15 of the season. It's been 3.5 months. There have been ups and downs. This is game 64. So there is no doubt, as you said, this is a massive game.
It absolutely is. And we're going to take a look at the ladder because it has massive finals permutations this game. And the 2 teams today are in second place and third place. So, Laurie, can you talk us through the potential situations that could happen today?
Well, I've been studying it all week, as I love to do, and it's actually fairly simple. If Perth win, they stay on top of the ladder. If they lose, they go to second, and whoever wins between Melbourne and the Capitals, they will catapult up into second spot. So it's really dependent on this game and the game tonight and then tomorrow for our finals to be figured out who plays who. But how exciting is it that it's this close, this end of the season, and we still don't know who that final... We know the Final 4, but not the order that they're playing in.
It really is anyone's game, and we're going to cross now to courtside because Megan Hustwaite is downstairs for us. Megan, over to you.
In here at Parkville, the atmosphere is electric. Finals have come early, a double chance on the line, and even the minor premiership today for the Melbourne Boomers and the UC Capitals. But there is a bit of tension in the air. You can feel it amongst both the teams and some interested onlookers as well. Everyone that's here at Parkville knows how much is on the line this afternoon.
Thanks to Megan for joining us courtside for this game. It's going to be a huge game between Melbourne and Canberra, as we suggested. Second versus third. It's all on the line. Finals coming up next week. We're going to take a look at the team list very shortly as we see Melbourne's coming up. What are your thoughts on Melbourne's game plan for this one, Laurie?
Well, Julia, I think there's a couple of things that I think they need to concentrate on. They really need to slow down Canberra's running game. They need to themselves look to get some easy transition baskets and not just play in the half court. And certainly they need to slow down Sykes. I mean, she is in scintillating form. So throw different looks at her. If you look at the starting 5, will that be Madgen? Will that be Mitchell? Will that be Allen to start on Sykes? That's the question. And that starting lineup has been really rock solid since the start of the year. Yes, they've had some ins and outs, but really they've been fairly standard in that starting 5, and they've got some good players coming off the bench.
We'll see Canberra's list come up shortly, and there's an interesting starter in their starting 5, which we'll chat on. But first of all, I mean, how do you expect them to go about this game?
Well, I think they need to be, we know Melbourne like to run through their sets and are more of a half-court, quarter-court game, so they need to be disruptive, and we know they're a great team. They've got very active hands, active feet, so take Melbourne out of their rhythm. They need to look to run and attack. They're very good at that. And my question mark will be, what will they look like when they're playing small ball? And they've started small with Frawling. How are they going to defend Magbabor and George? Are they going to double? Are they going to front? And then are they going to leave shooters open? So that'll be interesting to watch. But certainly their group is very strong. They've got a good bench. And wow, I don't know who to pick for this game.
As that makes 2 of us. I don't know who to pick either. But away from the basketball court, just very quickly, Laura, we have some special news to share today.
We do, and it's so exciting. We want to send out a huge congratulations to our colleague Jenny Screen and her husband Neil on the birth of their daughter Edith Hope Mottran, born on March 16th. Oh my goodness, what a cutie. So we wish them all the best and look forward to having Jenny back whenever she's available. And wow, I just love those pictures.
So cute, adorable. Congratulations to Jenny and her husband. And of course, little Edith as well. We hope she thrives in this world of ours. 2022 baby as well. How scary is that? But good to see that Jenny's doing well. Back to today's game, we see Guy Malloy on screen. He's got a big task to do. Of course, him and Paul Goris, both departing coaches at the end of the WNBL season. So how will they kind of approach this game?
Well, yeah, that's right. They're both leaving. I'd spoken to Guy and sort of asked him how his emotions were, and he says he doesn't, you know, he's thinking of this as just the, you know, the game and what they've got to get done. He's not sort of thinking of what's going to happen at the end of it all, but feeling pretty good about it and with this group. And I would think Paul would be the same. They've had some big games where they've been on the road for the last 3 games playing other top 4 teams. They had that massive win in Perth. Then they had a loss, you know, a lot of travel back to Canberra, then 2 days at home, then to Adelaide, had a big loss there, and now we see them here ready to suit up. So Paul will be hopeful and see where his team takes them today.
They've got first possession in this game at the moment. Kelly Wilson starting to dribble the ball towards the hoop as she does in so many occasions. They're just smart. And now Sykes. Laurie's predicting a big game for her. She drives immediately, just couldn't get the finish. And Madbagor, another one expected to have a big game. Over to Allen. Now the bounce pass comes to George.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which team sort of settles into the game first, settles into their rhythm, what they want to do offensively and what they want to do defensively. And that's a great start for Sykes, getting that steal, getting that hand. She's so active in that defensive position and getting some steals.
Well, she's leading the league in steals, or she's high up in the league in steals at the moment, and she led the league in the WNBA with steals too. Melbourne trying to get that bounce pass. They get it back. George fires from 3, and that's a great start for the Boomers.
That is, and the Boomers are really going to have to rely on that inside-outside game. And whilst that was a fumble and a pass out to George, she did a great job of nailing her first 3.
Here's Sykes now. Long 2 is great. She's off to a hot start. Britt Sykes.
She's so hard to defend because she's great at penetrating. She can pull up on a dime, and she's so explosive.
Speaking of explosive, here's Allen, pass to Madbagor. Lovely look, lovely finish too.
I feel like that's an area where Melbourne could really dominate all night, is inside. The size of Madbagor and George, it's really hard to match for Canberra.
So Sykes, she's had a prolific start to this game. Couldn't get the shot up on that time, but you would have backed her, honestly. She's had that sort of start.
But you can just see how explosive she is off that first step and her drive to the basket and the speed at which she goes. And you know, generally she finishes there, but fouled by Kayla George, and now she'll make her way to the foul line.
Great to see both teams in their Indigenous jerseys today. We'll learn a bit more about Melbourne's at halftime and the stories behind it. Sykes makes the first one.
Over the course of the last few weeks, when each team at various times have rolled out their Indigenous uniforms, they've just been spectacular. They're so great. They've got wonderful stories behind them. I think this the initiative of the Indigenous round is fantastic.
So Sykes with all Canberra's points so far. 6 on the board for Canberra, 6 on the board for her. Time for Melbourne to respond here through Magin. Just looking for an option. Back to Allen. She had a big game against the Capitals last time these two teams met. So too George. Allen pulls up for a long 3 and bang, that one goes down too.
Well, that's something that Guy Malloy talked about, that his team needs to. If they're going to defend or pack it in at all, then their outside shooters have to take control.
Here's Wilson. No whistle blown. Sykes has an open look. She can get her first 3 of the game. Couldn't make that one go. And now the Boomers run up the floor here through Mitchell. Dump pass to Madbagor, just couldn't quite get the handle, but got the foul, I think it was. So.
See, I like that. I like the way that Mitchell pushed the ball, made the defense pick up. Madbagor ran straight under the basket. There was a mismatch there with Froling, and they looked to get it inside straight away before the defense could collapse.
The Boomers will have a chance to go again. Madbagor found once again and dumps that one in 2 and 1.
Well, you can see that that focus is certainly on some inside looks between their 2 bigs in George and Madbagor. So they've really, you know, they're going to go to that a lot until Canberra figure out how to stop that.
Madbagor's coming off a monster game, 23 points, 14 rebounds against Adelaide last week. In some fine form.
Well, and interestingly, the last time these two teams played, Ezzy wasn't playing, and nor was Izzy Wright. So, and Michaela Roof was. So it's a very different matchup for this game, because that was a super close game, 2 points.
Here's Sykes gliding through the court, just couldn't get the finish. Bunton's there to mop it up though.
Nice follow-up by Alex Bunton.
Here's Mitchell now pushing the tempo for the Boomers. Switches hands, tries to go around, and the whistle's blown. One too many steps, I think. So Boomers 11, Capitals 8. Just 3 minutes played in this first period. Second versus third, all on the line, with finals coming up next week.
Well, when you think about it, the winner could possibly, probably not, but possibly go to first. That's big. That's a, you know, you want to finish the top two, but if you can finish first, even better.
Wilson scoops that one in. Great finish by the veteran. And now the long-range pass again comes to McGregor. The plan has been executed perfectly by Melbourne to start off this one.
Well, that's what I think they needed a little bit of. They need to be able to get those transition, those fast break points, and not have to grind it always out in the half court. So Melbourne would be really pleased with the way they're playing right now.
McGregor after 7 points for the ball game, leading all scorers now. Sykes with 6 at the moment. Now Smart's inbound. 3-point Melbourne lead at Parkville. Turnover here is on for Mitchell. She grabs it and goes. She's got George, goes to Imagine, but Smart able to cut it off. Now the Caps are off running. Sykes, dump pass. Melbourne ball now. So second versus third, as we mentioned. Perth taking on Townsville to end the round, so expect them, based on ladder positions, to get it done. But those two teams had a close finish just last night. George just got Griffin out the way, and now over to Imagine. Just dances around the defense. Can't quite put it in, but we'll go to the charity stripe. A good drive from Tess Imagine.
Well, it is, and she always knew that Ezzy had rolled and was there, that if she put a shot up anywhere near the vicinity and there wasn't a foul, that Ezzy was there to clean up the rebounds.
Tess Imagine having a great season for Melbourne once again. Just under 10 points per game she's averaging. 5 points and 5 rebounds against Adelaide as well last week. She nails the first one. Melbourne continue to increase their lead. It's up to 4 points now. Good start for the home team. Second free throw is good for Tess Imagine, and she's on the board in this one. Wilson now looking to advance it up the court. Kelly Wilson is reliable as ever in her 410th game, I should say. Griffin spins around George, but couldn't get the finish. And now McGregor's off running. So too Mitchell.
Canberra did a good job there of cutting off any transition basket. Their D-trans was very good. But, oh, even better is the drive by Lindsay Allen. The waves just parted and she went straight to that left-hand layup.
Now Wilson looking to respond. Cut off by George. Melbourne out to their biggest lead of the game. Can they increase it here through Allen? Gets it out to Imagine, who flicks it out to Mitchell. Long two-pointers, good. Timeout called.
You have to say that Melbourne are very switched on. And sometimes we don't know how they're going to come out, but right now they are switched on. And it is a much-needed timeout called by Coach Paul Goris.
Where do the Caps go from here? 9 points down early on in this game, halfway through the first quarter.
Well, I'm sure Paul's going to, want to mention to them just about, they just need to steady. They've taken some good shots. They just need to steady and make sure that they're getting the ball through hands still. They got their matchups, and they're just trying to stick to the scouts.
Just sending some messages now, Paul Goris. Caps got off to a good start, got the first bucket of the game, but then Melbourne just did Melbourne things, really. So what would Guy Malloy be saying to his troops then now?
Well, Guy Malloy would be really happy. They've had a real mixture of inside out, high, low. You know, they've scored 19 points, and it's only 5 minutes gone in the first quarter. So, you know, I can't imagine that he would be. We'll be able to hopefully ask Megan what he's saying. But I think for Paul, it's a matter of, for Canberra, it's a matter of, you know, it was really, they were with them, and then all of a sudden there was just a couple of quick baskets. So they've got to make sure they take away that momentum swing, which is what that timeout was about.
So Melbourne, just before that timeout, 6 straight points. Got themselves a 9-point lead now. Wilson with all the work to do for the Capitals. Sykes up to 6 points of her own to pay her on the floor for her first minutes. Wanted to pull up for her signature 3. Now gives it off to Wilson, who could pull up from 3 herself. Can't get it to go. And now Allen. George provides a screen for Madgen, but just can't quite communicate on that 1-2. Important stop for the Capitals.
That's an area where, for Melbourne, they just want to make sure that they're not, what they're doing on the court isn't influenced by their turnover, so that they do get a good shot, whether that shot goes in or not, but they give themselves a chance to score every single time down the floor. So, you know, that was uncharacteristic turnover from Madgen. Good defense by the Capitals.
Believe it or not, so far Melbourne are 100% from the field. I'm about to put the mod on them, I know, but they haven't missed since going down there. Sykes tried to get the bounce pass away. Mitchell hustled hard. So too Wilson, jump ball.
I like the desperation from Mitchell nice and early in this game, and really putting her body on the line, diving on it to create that jump ball situation.
So Melbourne still hold that 9-point lead after that Paul Goris timeout. You can see here Mitchell. It's just classic Tiff Mitchell, hustling hard for every possession. She's back in the action on the other side of the court, but for now, Madgen with it, pulls up from 3 and knocks that one down as well. Melbourne are on fire.
Well, Madgen did a great job of reading the defender there and where she was going and how she was defending her, and was able to just have a little step back and nail that 3, as is Kelsey Griffin. The fact that she is getting her eye in Kelsey, we need her involved in the game. She needs to have a good game in order for Canberra to be competitive.
Madgen, she's had an electric start and scoops that one in as well. Tess Madgen's come alive. 7 points now for the game. Wilson couldn't complete the clever finish. Magbagor just shoved her out the way on the rebound. Madgen once again. Can they continue their 100% field goal record? Madgen approaches the basket and does that, exactly that.
That's the thing with Melbourne, is when they're on song, everybody can contribute, and they're so hard to defend. So now do you try and stop their bigs in George and Ezzy, or now you see Tess Madgen taking over, Tiff Mitchell, and we know Lindsay Allen can light it up, so very hard to defend. Really even spread of scorers, Melbourne.
Mitchell driving around, gives it over to Allen for a long 3. It's Melbourne's first miss of the game. George spins her opponent around, and the crowd loved that one. Kayla George in game 301. Giving them something to cheer about. Sykes, though, giving the Caps something to cheer about as well.
Much needed basket by Canberra, just to settle the flow of scoring from Melbourne.
Allen now. Over to Magbagor. Punch out to Madgen. No good. Madgen now leading all scorers with 9 points. Time ticking down in this first period. Just under a minute to play now. Melbourne still hold a comfortable lead. Just down to 2 minutes to play, sorry. It's a foul's call. Canberra bench eagerly watching on Coach Kennedy Kerryama. He could play a bigger role next year, perhaps, with Paul Goris departing.
That was just an unnecessary foul by Ezzy. She had picked up the ball. She was stopped. She had nowhere to go.
Melbourne on for her first minutes for the Caps. So too Shanice Swain, coming off 10 points against Adelaide as the shot gets blocked there from Tupeya. Melbourne are off and running again.
Great defense by Lou Brown on that drive by Tupeya.
Here she is again, gives it off to Allen. And go to work. Dish off to Izzy Wright. Just gets around Melbourne, but not around Sykes. Melbourne will have another go at it. Melbourne Boomers, that is, not Jade Melbourne.
Jade Melbourne has had some really great games coming off the bench these last few games.
Brown trying to get around Tupeya. Does it eventually, just couldn't get the finish. It was a clever move, and Tupeya is able to wrestle the ball back for the time being. Now Sykes heading up the floor. Just loses the handle momentarily, and Lindsay Allen is off. She's got 2 to beat. Foul called in advance. And she will go to the line. So Lindsay Allen, last time these two teams played, had a fantastic game. 20-plus points.
29 points.
29. I thought it was 29.
Yeah, 8 assists as well. You know you're playing a great game when you're scoring yourself, but you're also facilitating for your teammates. Kayla George had 16 rebounds that last game, 19 points. So big numbers for both of those players.
George up to 2 rebounds at the moment, and Allen gets herself up to 6 points. She pops the second one in. Timeout called. That was by, I think it was subs actually, sorry. So Lindsay Allen will come off for a much deserved break. She's been working hard this first period. Melbourne with a 15-point lead. Time ticks down towards the end of the first period. Sykes just wants to hold things up. And draws the foul. Lily Scanlon on for her first minutes of the game. And Alicia Frolling's been on for this whole quarter, started this game. Providing good hustle on defense at the moment. Melbourne gives it off to Sykes. Sykes on right. Bit of a height mismatch, so Sykes goes to work, just couldn't finish it off. Froling hit the deck hard. And now Scanlon approaches the three-point line, gives it off to Ernst, couldn't get it off.
That's her shot too, that trailing 3. Just not quite on target today, but wow, the Melbourne looks so switched on, playing like a team, looking for each other.
Scanlon found Magin. Now a few passes and it comes to right. Goes on the left, dumps it over to Brown. Didn't want the long floater. Foul's called. So Tupeya conceded that one for the Caps. The first of the game. Melbourne 30, Canberra 15. What a start by the home side. And they'll go to the free throw line. It was a tech foul.
Interestingly, just watching a few of the players running up the court for Canberra, they look a bit fatigued already, and it's the first quarter. They don't look as, normally their running game, the way they push the ball with Sykes, Wilson, Melbourne on the court, we just haven't seen that zip in them today.
Bit of road trip fatigue, perhaps, of course, coming across from Adelaide on Thursday night, where they registered their lowest score this season, just 51 points.
Well, I think that, traveling to Perth, having that big game when they were without a couple of their players in Wilson and Bunton, and then back to Canberra, back to Adelaide, and here.
Big block by Sykes. Good end to the quarter for the Caps, but it's Melbourne with the lead. 32 points to 15. Don't go anywhere. Exciting second period coming up shortly.
We have a grill giveaway. What we want to do is do a chicken dance competition. So we want to see who can do the best.
During that first quarter. Big start for the Boomers. The home side came out with a vengeance. McGregor, Allen with 7 points apiece. Sykes with 8. Imagine leading all scorers at the moment with 9 points for the game. And Griffin can inbound things here for the Caps and get their game going, Laurie. They really need to get fired up.
They do. They look like they're lacking a bit of energy, so they really have to just make sure that they're running their stuff, they're getting through hands, and that they're relying on more than just Sykes to, well, there we go, a little bit of
luck, hey?
A little bit of luck, but we'll take it. They'll take it. Kelsey Griffin getting her second basket of the game.
Ernst now starting on the floor for Melbourne. Wilson with some aggressive hands against Mitchell. So Canberra draw first blood in the second period. Now Melbourne with the chance to respond and get that lead back. Great pass to Mitchell, just couldn't finish off the good work. And now Sykes is off and running, just loses the handle too fast for her own feet. It'll be a jump ball. Sykes perhaps wanting a foul.
And we saw that at the start of the quarter, the possession error was with Canberra, so on this first jump ball possession, it's now with Melbourne.
You can hear the crowd getting up and about for that one as well. Good crowd turning out here at Parkville today. Mitchell, guarded by Smart. Over to McGregor, another great look, and another great look to Ernst. There's great looks all around from the Boomers.
Well, they certainly don't lose any size when they put Carly Ernst on and subbing for either Ezzy or for Kayla.
Sykes guarded by Allen. Dish off to Wilson. Good defense by Wright.
It was good anticipation of which way she was going to go, and they closed out long, taking away that three-point shot of Brittany Smart.
And Canberra will have another go at it. So they can get the start they need to this quarter. Griffin for a long three. That's good.
That's her second 3 for the game, Kelsey Griffin, so they certainly want her to light up and continue. That might just be the spark that they need.
McGregor loses the handle. She's stuck now. Eventually the Canberra players reach in. Scoreline reads now 34-20. Canberra have had 5 since the first period. Crucial game here, second versus third. A lot to play out still. 3 more games left in this round. Perth game's what these two teams will be keeping an eye on tomorrow against Townsville. Sykes drives through the paint, looks good and finished well too.
That was a nice finish by Sykes, and she's up to 10 points now for the Caps.
Allen just got interrupted on the shot, and now the Caps are off here through Griffin. Foul called.
And that's the sort of energy that we're used to seeing from the Caps. Getting a good, strong rebound or a block and just outrunning. And Kelsey Griffin, it was a bit of a foot race right here, but she was going. She went hard to the basket and now finds herself at the foul line.
The timeout call before she'll head to the foul line. Magbagor tough on that foul.
Again, coaches want to call timeouts when, you know, there's any sort of momentum swing. And so Canberra have come out and gotten a few buckets in this start of the second quarter. So Guy Malloy wants everything to you know, to just settle down and get his charges, settle them down, take a deep breath and refocus.
And off the ball, give those guys confidence. There's too much space. She can split, they can go to work. Right, now, sometimes they're not coming all the way over to set the pick. The guard, you have to take the ball to the screen still. Take it to the screen. Defense. Yeah, take it to the screen. Don't let them split you before the screen. Okay, now, next play we go 0 for dummy the touch action and then get it back to a fist action. Yeah. Right, we've got to be more patient offensively. Here we go.
So that was pretty good instructions by Guy Malloy. He talked a little bit about defensively. He wanted them to tidy up a couple of little things and then gave them this play that they want to run. And that's what, you know, this timeout is about, steadying his troops in that. And so we'll just see if Megan, were you able to get in and listen to what Paul Goris had to say?
Don't think so. Kelsey Griffin, though, drains the first one. Second one just rolls out. Magbagor pulls down those boards. And now the Boomers can continue their first quarter crusade, although they've been interrupted for the time being. Allen pushing hard against Smart, gets herself some separation and finds Magbagor.
Great cut off the ball. Ezzy just realized that Kelsey Griffin had just been engaged by the offensive player and took her eyes off of her and was able to make a nice cut and finish.
Sykes tries to get the screen from Griffin, but George picked that pocket, gave it back to Allen, and now Madden's off and running. Good anticipation by Wilson. Still with the Boomers though. Here's George now against Dupay, a bit of a height mismatch. The foul's drawn either way.
I liked how Kayla straight away went inside, recognizing that she had a mismatch with Talia Tupea and was going strongly, and it took Griffin to come down to start doubling to create that this situation. Mitchell.
Magbagor found once again, has to contend with Griffin, gets her own board and gets her own bucket too.
It's not a lot Kelsey can do when Ezzy gets position with her. She's just not tall enough, and Ezzy's using her body very well.
So Mitchell Driving now through the paint. Tough finish. And Tiff Mitchell gets herself into this game. Melbourne get the momentum back. Timeout called. Boomers 40, Capitals 23. 6 minutes of 24 left to play. So take a look at this replay. Mitchell so tough on the drive to pay her with the hands straight up. Nothing much more she could have done.
I think that's Paul Goris that we can hear a little bit of, and he's certainly really making his statement strongly to his players, and he needs to be. They need to tighten up on things. They're a much better team than they're showing right now, Julia. You can hear the urgency in Paul Goris's voice, just imploring his players to lift their energy levels, to become more aggressive, to not let Melbourne just so easily dominate this game.
Boomers have got the last 6 points in this second period. 6-0 run at the moment for them. Susie Wright, Lee Brown take a seat. It's all smiles on the Boomers bench at the moment. 40 points to 23. Cats have a bit of work to do. That timeout was anything to go by. I think some physicalities on the cards for the rest of this period. Wilson bringing it down the floor. Froling on here for the Caps. She started this ball game. Wilson just didn't pull up for that three, and now she just has to backtrack, guarded by George. Griffin up against Magbagor. We've loved that matchup so far. Griffin can't capitalise, and Sykes hits the deck pretty hard, holding that leg. Keep an eye on that. Imagine tries to get around Froling. Couldn't get the floater in, and I think the game will be stopped due to Britt Sykes hitting the floor. She has not got up from that tough incident. It's not a player you want going down if you're a Caps fan. She's wheeling herself up now. Tough cookie, Britt Sykes. Leading points getter for the Caps at the moment, 10 points. Griffin's got 9.
Well, and she's their leading scorer overall for the whole season, averaging almost 17 points a game. So yes, she's not somebody that you know, that you hope that is sitting on the bench for very long. Hopefully the physio can look after her and she can get back out on the court.
Smart. In the meantime, Griffin hits the deck too. Froling tried to spin around Magbagor. I think she traveled, double dribble actually.
Double dribble, yeah. I have to say, you know, we're talked so far about the Caps and maybe a little bit of lack of energy and aggressiveness. But you have to remember, they are playing the best defensive team in the competition. And I look at Melbourne's defense right now, their rotations, their rules, what they're doing, how they're playing, and it is spot on. I'm so impressed, and that's something Guy Malloy talked to me about, is he's very comfortable with where their defense is at. For him, it's making sure that they can get points on the board, which today there's certainly no problem with that.
No problems at all. They're 63% from the field as well, so still shooting very well. Started the game with, I think it was 6 straight field goals before their first miss. Jay Melbourne injecting into this one. They'll need her energy with Britt Sykes hopefully just momentarily on the bench. Smart tries to scoop that one in. Imagine brought down the boards. And now Allen can get going. Magbagor just glides through the paint.
Oh, glide is a great word, Julia. She just took that and went by Alicia Froling and was just really graceful to the basket, Ezzy.
Smart. Couldn't get the tough three to go, and George can pull down that board. Magbagor, 13 points for the game. I'll try and find her again, but George wants to launch a 1-3, and why not?
I tell you what, I feel like all the things that Guy has worked on with this team all year are coming together in this game. So Ezzy ran the floor really well. They collapsed on her. Kayla got it at the top of the key. Here we see Lindsay Allen pushing it. You know, they're just playing well together as a team.
They're in for another 3 here. This time it's Madgen on the end of it. This is a prolific display from the Boomers. 14-0 run. Caps are going to do some thinking, and they've got to do it quick.
Well, it's a really hard one because the Boomers are scoring from perimeter and from inside. So if you think, oh, well, we'll go into zone, they're nailing their 3-point shots. You know, they're 5 for 7 right now, so that might not work.
Foul called. 48-23. Melbourne are going to hit 50 before half time. Big offensive performance from the home side. See this foul
but
here.
Equally as a big defensive performance right now with
yep.
23 points for the UC Capitals and just their, as I've just mentioned, their rotations, even getting in the passing lanes and forcing Canberra to catch it a little bit further out.
Madgen, another tough finish. What have the Boomers had for brekkie this morning? Been a prolific game from them. Megan Hustwaite's down courtside. Megan, over to you.
Good news for the Caps. She's back on the court after going down to the walls for a few minutes. She appears to be okay, which is good news for Canberra and their leading scorer.
Thank you, Megan. Great news for the Caps. You can see Sykes back on the floor. She has to contend with George, and she can't, because George can finish another one off. This just gets uglier and uglier for the Caps at the moment.
Well, you have to say Melbourne are certainly sending a message to Perth and Adelaide that they are, you know, wherever they finish, they are going to be contenders.
Melbourne can't get that much-needed basket. The Boomers are off again. 3 players in double figures already. George, McGregor, and Madgen leading all scorers with 14. Dish pass to McGregor, got the foul, but what a pass from Kayla George. Looked like it was in slow motion.
They might want to just continue playing in these Indigenous uniforms for the final series because they are looking impressive.
It is called Muruguruk, which means leader or wise woman, so I think they're certainly leading the way on the court at the moment.
It's nice to see Ezzy having a real impact this game. You know, she has been injured since that Opals camp, missed a few games, and, you know, has had some interrupted training. So to get a really good training, a really good game under her belt before the finals will do herself and the team a lot of good.
If I've counted correctly, it's a 20-point run for the Boomers at the moment. Just have put the foot down in a big way in this game. Here's George. Mitchell guarded by Melbourne, couldn't get around her and ends up kicking it out of court.
Great defense by Jade Melbourne, staying with Tiff Mitchell because we know how explosive she is, how great she is to get to the basket. So Melbourne did a good job of cutting off that baseline and being active with her hands and forcing that turnover.
Sykes back on the floor. Looks like she's moving well. Needs to continue moving well and get the Caps a much-needed score. Foul called. Caps have put on just 8 points in this second period. Melbourne have just gone bang. $22 points for them in this second period. Just over 90 seconds to play. Allen pulls up for a 3. Can't join the party for the time being. Now Sykes just wants her Caps to get going. Desperate need of momentum before half-time. And Sykes can't provide it. So Allen, 7 points for the ball game for her. Lou Brown on for some minutes in this second period. Provides a screen. Boomers are out once again. George just ducked under Sykes and got another finish to go. You can see their field goal percentage, 70% compared to 37. They are dominating this game. And Wright just racks it out of Sykes' hands. Allen's off and running. Another 2 incoming for the Boomers.
This is one of those games where it's a dream to coach. It's a lot of fun to coach and to play, but oh, I feel for the Caps and for Paul Goris. His team can do no right now, and the Boomers can do no wrong.
Sykes ends that massive scoring run from the Boomers just in time for half-time. 9 seconds here for the Boomers. They might want to hold things up. Imagine she'll get the last shot to go! Tess Madgen is dominating this ball game. Melbourne is dominating this ball game. What a performance from the home side at half-time. 61 Boomers, 25 Caps.
And such a spread of scoring for the Boomers. They're all getting involved into this party, and just a nice little step back by Madgen, and on the buzzer drains that 3.
She's having a fantastic game. 17 points for her to go with 2 rebounds. Megan Hustwaite is courtside with the women we speak of. Tess Madgen. Megan, over to you.
Goodness gracious me, finals have come out.
Yeah, I mean, after that loss to Bendigo, we've been working really hard at training to just fine-tune some things. And guys got us super prepared for this game, which I think is pretty evident.
How important is the D to keep them to 25 points at half-time?
Yeah, I mean, our pick and roll coverages are really good. We're sticking to them and we're executing them really well. Whenever we haven't, they've scored, so we know, that's the key to winning the game.
A lot riding on this game, as we know, in the permutations across the weekend. How important was it just to zero in on performance and a win this afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to do what we do at practice. We want to execute it, and we obviously want to finish as high as we can on the ladder, but it was all about getting, feeling confident coming into finals with this one.
You're playing like that and then some. Go and get a rest quickly, Tess, because we don't want you pooped in the second half. Good luck.
Thanks, Megan.
How good is that? Tess Madgen in disbelief about her form and the Boomers' form. As you take a look at the highlights, the Boomers have dominated this one, Laurie. What's been the key to their success so far?
Well, a lot of things. The key to their success is 61 points, but it's the way they're doing it at both ends of the court. And as Tess said, they were well prepared for this game, and they've been working for it, and all the pieces of the puzzles have fallen into place. It's about the way they're scoring. We see an inside move from Kayla George. There's been high-low action. They've been running the floor really well, as you see here. Tess Madgen going at it hard. But it's their defense, it's their rotations, it's trying, Canberra are really having to work so hard to even get a look at the basket. And so, Melbourne are just doing it at both ends of the court.
It's been an unbelievable display from the Boomers. A 24-point run in that second quarter, whopping 24 points in a row. They've absolutely dominated this ball game. We saw the cherry on top there from Tess Madgen. To take a look at the match stats, Laurie, what stands out to you? I mean, for me, the field goal is the one that I'm looking at.
Oh, my goodness. It's like red blinkers are going off there. 71% compared to 38. And 67% from the three-point line. 6 for 9. That's amazing. But look at the team play, the assists, 12-2. The Capitals are just really struggling in every area right now, you'd have to say.
They've got a lot of work to do. They're down 36 points at the main break. Don't go anywhere. After this, we'll wrap up the first half and take you across to some different elements of the league so far. We'll be back after this. So that means Canberra have a lot of work to do, and they're going to need one of their superstars to step up straight away, and that is Kelsey Griffin. Our own Megan Hustwaite caught up with her pre-game.
Well, Kelsey, the Capitals are on the cusp of their 4th consecutive finals series championships, back-to-back championships to start that. What has been different about this campaign?
Man, everything. You know, this season, I think, Kelly and I were talking about it today, I think this is the most challenging season either of us have played in our time in the WNBL. So it's, I've asked a lot of the group, and I think across the league, players have been asked a lot, and I'm just so proud of the resiliency and that my teammates keep showing up and going to work.
You lost a ton of experience out of the side from the hub season. How do you build that resilience in a new group?
Well, I think that's something that I have to give a lot of credit to Gauze for. He recruits people that have high quality, high character, and that care factor is huge. And I think that he empowers his players. He gives us a voice, and you know that kind of buy-in allows for the resiliency to build as the season goes on.
Brittany Sykes has been a wonderful import for you. Canberra have a great record. Kia Nurse, Olivia Pooper, what are your thoughts on her season to date?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited when Gauze told me that Britt Sykes was going to come out here and play. I knew that she was a tough defender, you know, workhorse, and really wanted and cared a lot. And that's one thing that I think is just so, I appreciate so much in her and as a teammate, is her level of care. And it's been fun for me getting to work with her. It's been fun for me getting to work with her and develop her leadership skills and her leadership style. And really, I think we're just building. You know, I think our relationship on the court's just starting, really.
Your great mate, Kelly Wilson, first to 400 games record holder, making history every week back this season. You've dominated grand finals over the last 10 years, but how can the experience of you two in particular hold the Caps in good stead for a finals tilt?
Yeah, look, I think Kelly Wilson still doesn't get the recognition she deserves. I reckon she has the best assist-to-turnover ratio that the league has right now, and I think a lot of the work that she does on the court doesn't go noticed, but as her teammate, all of us know the work she puts in and feel comfortable when the ball's in her hands.
A huge final round game today. Kelsey, thank you so much for your time, and all the best to you and the Capitals for the upcoming final series.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you to Kelsey and Megan for their time there. Kelsey Griffin's got 9 points to start off this game. She needs to do a lot of work to get back into it. Laurie, what can she do to get the Caps fired up?
Well, Julie, I don't think it's just what can she do. I think her teammates need to assist her, and I think that's really important for the Caps in this third quarter. They've got to do it as a team, as a committee. Not one player can just do it on. So Britt Smart, Sykes has got to continue, Kelly Wilson. They need to bring it as a unit. Nobody can. The way Melbourne are playing right now, they need to play as a team. I don't think anybody can just do it on their own.
We're going to head to a quick break, but after the break, we are going to talk about Melbourne's Indigenous jumper and the story.
for you to have that representation on your top to say, I carry a lot of stuff, but hey, I'm deadly as.
We all love what it stands for, the Muruguru.
The Muruguru means the leader or the wise woman, so that's the name of the top.
It's what we all aspire to be as Melbourne Boomers players and a Melbourne Boomers organisation.
I thought of a team and how in culture it's so important.
It's also amazing to wear the Ballon print, which takes up the majority of the uniform, and this is an Indigenous bag made by females, and it represents all the loads that females have to carry and all the different hats that we have to wear.
And I hope that you carry it proud and understand it's more than just a top.
We are so grateful and blessed to be able to wear this, and we are really looking forward to the game. So thank you so much. This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
To be able to wear it for everyone to be able to see it is very inspiring, and we're very grateful.
Welcome back to Melbourne. It is the Boomers leading by 36 points heading into the third period. Laurie, a quick summation from you. What are the Caps going to do to get back into this one?
Oh, my goodness. Where do we start? Paul Boris would have had a long chat with that group. Look, I think they have to put aside the scoreline right now and just get back to playing some great basketball. Whether they win this game or not, they need to have a second half where they can feel good about it going into this final series.
Megan Huswaite's courtside for us with something to add. Megan.
Well, the Caps just came out of three-quarter time. The message from the coach Paul Goris was we need multiple stops and defend. The Boomers are shooting at 70%. But after that, two little huddles formed. It was the starting five. They had a word together. And then Abby Cadillo brought the bench players together. And they had a word as well. So obviously a lot on the line, not just for finals positions. But the Caps are playing finals no matter what. So they need to get as much as they can out of this second half.
Thanks, Megan. And Caps have a lot of work to do, down by 36. Melbourne now heading to the left of your screen. Let's see if they can get the start that they've got to the first and the second quarters. Allen gets rid of Sykes, tries to dump it to Magbagor, and Sykes pops up once again.
That's a good start, and already you could just see maybe a little bit more energy coming from the Caps. There seemed to be more talking on defense.
As Griffin puts the spin cycle on, gets her own board. Have a second go at George. And George says absolutely not. And gets it down the other end of the floor. Imagine. Had a great start to this game. She's up to 20 points.
I was just going to say the challenge for Melbourne is to keep up the intensity and not drop it and just keep pushing on and looking at their open shots and not let their focus drop. But certainly that start by Tess Madgen shows that they are ready to play out this game.
Magbagor blocks Froling. I got too excited. Magbagor's on 19, but she's certainly close to that 20-point mark. 57% from the field as well. Mitchell, guarded by Smart. Over to Allen. George and Griffin in a tight tussle. George breaks free. Heads around Griffin. Out to Madgen. Couldn't quite get the finish. They're still in it here. Great dunk pass to Allen. I think shot clock might have run out. Or are they going to count it? I reckon they might.
I think they're going to count it. She was on the move and released it just as that shot clock went off.
So Melbourne with a 40-point lead at the start of this third period. Had a brilliant start to this game. Wilson got a screen from Griffin so she can wheel around, gets out to Smart. And Madgen pulls down a board.
That was a good shot by Brittany Smart, and it had gotten through some hands. It had shifted the defense, and normally you'd bank her to nail it, just like you would bank on Kayla George hitting that shot from the top.
So Melbourne get another good start to the quarter. 7 points already. Wilson tries to thread the needle. Magbagor pulls down the rebound. And they're up and running once again. This time it's Mitchell, drives all the way through. Assist out to Madgen, who's all alone. Couldn't jam it in. But Magbagor, tough board. And they'll start again. Mitchell, long three, great! Long two, I should say. It was great.
Well, Melbourne right now are playing so loose, so relaxed that anything they're looking at, thinking about is happening. It's fun to play that way, but oh, it's a nightmare to be against them right now.
74% from the field, 58% from three-point range. Caps having no such luck, but Griffin puts one up. Can't knock it down. Melbourne on a 9-point run to start this third quarter. Magbagor, Madgen. She's got a few to contend with. Foul called. Melbourne up to 70 points already for the ball game. Caps are just at 25. They already registered their lowest score of the season on Thursday. Just 51 points. So see Sykes knock that one out of Magbagor's hands. But if they don't get going, it could be another low score for the Caps.
Ezzy is a great rebounder. She's a great finisher. The one part of her game she can pick up is her foul shooting. And that's something, you know, she'll need to develop over her journey. Because especially if you're big and you're playing inside, you're going to get fouled. So you want to be able to make sure that you can nail those foul shots.
Oh, the pass to George was fantastic. Where did that ball go? She just threaded the needle perfectly. Bit of Houdini-style theatrics from Ezzy Magbagor. Smart and Allen, they've been hustling all game. Now Froling just missed Griffin. It's been that type of game for the Caps.
Well, again, I think it's the immense pressure that the Boomers are putting on. You could see Lindsay Allen just working really hard to contain Smart, not give her anything. And then when Froling got the ball, same thing, not giving her any options to pass. So Melbourne have done a terrific job defensively.
47 points, the better of the Caps at the moment. Mitchell, guarded by Melbourne. Switches hands, goes to the two and gets that one to go as well. Back-to-back buckets for Tiff Mitchell. As Wilson looks for an option, finds Melbourne. Gets the screen from Bunton, just couldn't get any separation from Madgen. Now Wilson on her own, this would be great. Just couldn't knock it down.
Again, just like that last Brittany Smart three. Good ball movement, a penetration, a kick to where your receiver is, another kick on. Just didn't nail it. But it was good ball movement on Camera's part.
And look at this. The space just opens up for the Boomers once again. Madgen just can't tip the long jumper in. Wilson, she's been working tirelessly all game, finds an option in Bunton. That's better from the Caps.
Well, it was really good off-ball movement by Bunton on Wilson's penetration. She just dove to the basket, ready for a board if it couldn't, but was able to get that pass and finish.
George all on her own. Griffin got to her, but couldn't get to her well enough. The three is in. Kayla George now leading all scorers with 20 points to go with 6 rebounds.
62% from the three-point line, 8 from 13 are Melbourne. They are shooting the ball with such confidence, all of them.
Melbourne lost the handle, recovered well. And now Wilson ducks around Madgen, just couldn't bake it in. And they're off and running again. 77-27, the scoreline. Margins are up to 50. The Caps are just capitulating. As Mitchell launches another basket, and it's good to go. This is amazing stuff from the Boomers.
Well, the boom box, as it's called, will be very happy, the fans there today in this last regular season home game.
Melbourne over to Griffin. Gets around George, goes with one hand. That's a nice finish from Kelsey Griffin. Gets herself up to 11 for the game as Magbagor, once again, that gliding motion in the paint has been so effective. She gets another basket to her name. Melbourne left right open from 3. There you go. Jade Melbourne getting into the game. We'll need her to fire up. That's her first points. You can see the 3-point differential. Caps 23%. Melbourne a whole lot better as George lands another one. This is unbelievable 3-point shooting from the Boomers.
It's like a training one for them. 85 points in the third quarter.
Safe to say we're on track for the highest score of the season and the lowest score of the season in the same game.
I think so.
Sykes gets the tough finish and she
almost drops her shoulders like, finally.
Bit of relief. Didn't score that whole second period. Had a great first period. George, another long pass to Ezzy, double teamed. Doesn't matter, it rolls in. Mabagor's got 19. And she's 8 from 9 from the field too. 87 points to 34. Has not been the Caps game.
Interesting, this is the first subs that Guy Malloy has made this half. He was really making a statement with his starters there and getting them to gel together and make the extra pass and high-low action, and now we see some subs coming in.
Melbourne. Subs also for the Caps. Swain's got it. Dumps it into Bunton, but it just ricocheted off a couple of Melbourne players, and they're off and running again through Mitchell. George, guarded by Tupea. Brewster on the floor, so too Brown. All the bench players working together before that foul. A lot of talk out there from both teams for varying reasons. Coach Guy Malloy watching on. A little bit of talk from Tupeo as well. The two number 8s on each other as Scanlon gets it over to Mitchell. Wheels around. Oh, what a move. Can she get the finish? Not quite. They'll get another go at it here, the Boomers.
It's really important going into finals time to get some of these bench players some really valuable minutes before they, before finals come, and because you just never know what's going to happen or how your starters are going to play. So you get the bench players in there, they're going to feel confident when they have to step in and it's crunch time.
Brewster provides a screen for Scanlon, just loses the handle. Good D. And it result in a Cap stop. Rach Brewster playing for the Nunawading Spectres in NBL 1. As Capillo brings it up the floor. Over to Melbourne. Bunton mismatch. Charge! Great D by Lily Scanlon. Held her nerve. That's what you want to see from your bench players.
Well, it is, and Alex Bunton's got, is a big body coming in there, and Lily Scanlon just got position, and we can see here her feet were set.
Scanlon, of course, playing against her old team, just coughs it up there, allows Cabillo to go, and just go to the line. But probably good of Scanlon to just hold her up. Good foul to give.
Yeah, now she has to earn it from the stripe. This what was good is she didn't reach in at all to then get an unsportsmanlike foul. She kept her hands out, but she made sure that she wasn't going to score the basket.
So Abby Cabillo knocks down the second one. And now the Caps playing a bit higher up the floor, putting some pressure on the Melbourne offense. See catch jumpers everywhere at the moment. Brewster struggling to find an option. And now the Caps do get a stop. Melbourne's up and running against Mitchell and gets the finish. That's better D from the Caps. They double team Mitchell now. It leaves Brewster free. Pops up a three, can't jam it in.
Oh, great second effort by Lou Brown.
And they're off again. Scanlon will run a play. Ernst at the top of the three-point line. Over to Mitchell. Just gets it off in time, but again, good D from the Caps. $14 seconds left in this third period. 87-37, the way of Melbourne. A 50-point margin.
I don't think either team have a starter on the court right now.
Good experience for these bench players in clutch moments. Speaking of clutch, the Caps get one back, but it's still a big margin, 87-39 at three-quarter time. We'll be back after this for the fourth period.
Everyone who said we're not strong enough, not fast enough, wrong. We're crossover queens, scoring buckets, taking names and hitting no-look threes. We fight for every ball. Until we dunk, hell yeah. When we roll into the court with nothing to lose and everything to prove, you're in for a show. She got style, she got balls, she got belief, she got game.
Icon Services is a market leader, offering 4 integrated property and service divisions in cleaning, hygiene and washroom, waste and recycling, and property services. Find out why Australia's largest spaces and most iconic places only trust the Icon brand. Icon, solutions that matter.
Melbourne leading the way by 48 points heading into the final period. Megan Huss.
Spoke to his starters. They're usually players that come off the bench, but really explained to them, great communication with them about what they're aiming to do in this last quarter. Same with the Caps. Their starters are on the bench to start this final term. What can Canberra get out of this last quarter? We know they're playing finals no matter what. They've got to try and get some pride and some momentum in this final quarter.
Absolutely do. It's safe to say the game's not quite winnable, but there's a lot to gain out of bench players getting some valuable minutes in this final period. We see a drive to the basket over to Melbourne. Can't nail the three. Bunton blocked by Ernst. And now Scanlon will handle the ball for the Boomers. A couple of passes, ends up with Izzy Wright. Over to Ernst. Nails that shot, looked quite flat, but somehow went in. One of those days for the Boomers.
Well, it was like, I can't pass there, I can't pass there. All right, I'll just shoot it, and swish.
Melbourne, long three from Tupea. Just misses. So Wright and Scanlon Playing at the top to start off this one. Brewster guarded by Swain. Here's Scanlon against Cabillo. That'll be a fascinating matchup, and Cabillo wins out that time, but it's a Melbourne ball.
It's great to see some up-and-coming young players playing against each other, getting this opportunity.
And in the crowd as well, we saw some up-and-comers possibly there on screen too. Crowd absolutely loving what their Boomers are doing in this one. And it's can't pop up back-to-back baskets. Now Swain coming off 10 points against the Lightning on Thursday. A breakout performance from her. Just misses the pass to Melbourne.
I'll be interested to see if either coach put any starters back in for this last quarter.
Jane Melbourne with the handball back to the ref as well. Got some distance on it. Here's Izzy Wright, guarded by Melbourne.
Nice.
Blue-brown finishes off the great work from Carly Ernst.
Just a little miscommunication by the Caps defensively. Both went to Ernst, and she recognized that and made a great pass to her teammate.
Cabillo now goes under to Swain. Wright picks that one up. Ernst trying to get in Melbourne's way, but Melbourne can't be stopped on defense right now. But Ernst still somehow gets a good pass away, and Brewster this time gets on the board.
I think that's the experience of Carly Ernst on the court right now, and just her leadership and her ability to see what's out there and who's open with her young bench player teammates.
Bunton couldn't scoop that one in. Izzy Wright gets it over to Ernst. Who will she find this time? Gets Brewster. Around Cabillo. Good dump pass to Brown. Couldn't finish it off. Cabillo spins out of trouble. Gets it over to Melbourne, who can go for a baseline drive. Long three from Swain. No good. But they can have another go at it here, the Caps. Shot clock ticking down. 5 to shoot here for Cabillo. Gets it over to Melbourne, who could pop up a 3 and can't knock it down.
We had a good shot of the Melbourne bench and coaching staff in that last play phase, and you notice that we didn't see Larissa Anderson. Shout out to her. She's in COVID protocols. Her husband and young son have both tested positive, so she's at home watching this. So, Larissa, you'd be very, very happy with your Melbourne Boomers at this point.
They have not let the Caps score to start off this fourth period. 4 straight buckets, including a 3 just then from Carly Ernst. She's been doing all the passing so far. Foul called. So a 9-0 run to start off this fourth period. It's been the trend for the Boomers in this game. Went on a 24-0 run in the second period, and that really broke open this game. Probably why the margin stands where it is.
Well, really, Melbourne stamped their authority on this game right in the first quarter. Just the way they were going about their business at both ends of the court. And they really haven't looked back since.
Scanlon just loses it momentarily. Melbourne's been great on D. Ernst gets in her way. And now Wright can get in the action. Not quite yet. Swain hustles up the floor here for the Caps. Goes up against Wright. And will go to the line. A good move from Shanice Swain.
It was just a little change of speed going down the court, looking like she might pass it, and then just exploded out. You can just see here a little hesitation. Nice finish at the basket. Got fouled. Finds herself at the line.
Great to see, though, for the Caps. 2 Indigenous players on the floor at the moment, too. Both wearing their Indigenous tops as well. It's a nice little moment for them. Perhaps a positive they can take out of this game. They've got some great developing bench players. Swain knocks the second one down. Both Indigenous jerseys looking fantastic, and all Indigenous jerseys looking fantastic in rounds 12 to 15 of the WNBL. Certainly hope Indigenous round is here to stay. And Scanlon gets herself to the basket. Another bucket down for the Boomers as they approach triple figures. Still got 5.5 minutes to play in this game.
Surely this is going to be a record score, probably a record margin in this scoreline, with the Caps only scoring 40 points so far.
That just rolls in for Scanlon. And you can hear the crowd and the bench so vocal, getting behind their Boomers. The final's just around the corner. Melbourne over to Paya, launches from 3, never looked like missing.
She's so good from that 3-point line, and Jade Melbourne did a good job of driving and getting the defense to collapse and being able to kick it out to her.
So that was Talia's Tupea's first points of the game. Brit Smart, Alicia Froling yet to score. Everyone else from the Caps has got points on the board. Every single Melbourne player's got points except for Izzy Wright, that we wanted to get her in the action as well. She's been hustling hard on the defense. Everyone's played a role in this Boomers side today. Here is Izzy Wright, dishes it off to Brown. Brewster just scoops it back in. Scanlon launches from 3. Wright pulls down the boards. Can't get her first points quite yet, but the Caps are going to get the stop.
I wonder if it's a focus of the Boomers to get Izzy on the scoreboard right now. And sometimes that's great, but sometimes it sort of backfires and puts a lot of pressure on them. So I hope she does get some points, but I hope it just happens naturally.
Cabillo off the floor for the Caps. Dances around Brown, but not for the moment, because Brown blocks and says, get out of my house. Scanlon to Ernst. Guarded by Tupea. Now Wright on Cabillo. Some great matchups. The foul call. Some frustration setting in for the Caps.
But you can see that their endeavor is to try and get up and in and put a little bit more pressure. You could see Talia Tupea on Carly Ernst at the top of the key, and then that foul there. So they're certainly, they haven't stopped playing, which is great to see.
Scanlon gets around Tupea over to Brewster, and that one goes down as well.
Rachel Brewster had a quick release there. She didn't have to bring the ball down. She just caught it and was already into her shot.
She hit a winning 3-pointer in NBL 1, so she's certainly got the knack of a quick release. So too has Cabillo. Just can't jam that one in. And Brewster pulls down the board. A good little patch from her. So too Scanlon. I think she's been having a really fantastic fourth period. Can't scoop that one in. Gets the O board. Here's a chance for Izzy Wright.
Oh, Izzy, shoot the ball. We want you to score.
Scanlon can't get that one to drop. His body's hit the floor. Just shows how selfless Izzy Wright is, though. Just looking for an option, you know. She probably knows she hasn't scored a point yet, but she's still doing the team thing, even with this sort of margin.
Well, you look at them, they have had 21 assists for the game so far, the Melbourne Boomers, so they've really shared that ball around and won 5 people in double figures, all their starters.
Brewster taps that one out. Conversely for the Caps, just 7 assists on their end. It's really has not been their game. That's all you can say, really. But the good thing is they are in finals. They can catch up as Melbourne lays one in. Loving the nursery rhyme theme at the stadium. A bit of Happy If You Know It. A lot of clapping done from the Boomers crowd, and Brewster knocks another one down. 104 points now for the Boomers.
And Canberra normally hold teams to, their average for the year has been 72.
Wow.
For Canberra. So, you know, they on average score 80 and hold teams to 72.
Caps' lowest score of the season was 51 against Adelaide on Thursday. It's sitting at 45 right now, 2.5 minutes, or just under 2.5 minutes to play. Brewster's just putting everything up, even though it doesn't count. She's having a real purple patch race, Brewster. 7 points. 2 from 2 from the field for her. Carly Ernst leading bench scorers with 9.
Great opportunity for Guy Malloy to coach these young players in real time. You know, often in a game you just don't have the time to, but when you're up by that much, you're able to do that, and it's so valuable to these young players.
Brewster can't pop the second one in. So Cabillo bringing it up the floor for Canberra. 60-point margin. Froling out to Cabillo. Brown pulls down that board. So 2 number 8s. They've been going at it this fourth period, Scanlon and Cabillo. Scanlon spins her around. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now finds Ernst. Brewster, long 2. No good. Then the Caps stream up the floor once again through Cabillo. Nice hustle, a nice finish from Abby Cabillo. And she'll go to the line for 1.
As we say, these Canberra Capitals, these bench players haven't stopped. They're going hard. They're, you know, trying to finish off this game, and you've got to give them full credit for that, because that's not hard when it's the margin is what it is.
So Izzy Wright just got taken off. Is that the end of the game for her? We wanted to get her some points. Just over 90 seconds to play in this one. Melbourne 105. Caps are 47. Jackie Trotto on for her first minutes of the game. Another great opportunity for a bench player. She's with Ringwood in the NBL 1 South. Scanlon drives to the basket and somehow gets the roll. What a classy finish from Willie Scanlon.
Oh, that's just applicable of what's happened all night. If it's close to the basket, it's going in.
Here's Tubea now for an open look, and she gets that one to go. Sigh of relief for Talia Tupea. And the crowd is starting to get vocal for their Boomers. As Brewster takes a seat, she's had a great end of this game. 8 points for her. Another bench player, and Niven Brown coming on too. From the Hawthorn Magic in Big V. Really great to see Guy Malloy just throwing them all on.
It is nice, and it would be a real thrill for them to be just even get a few minutes court time in front of their home fans in the last game. That's such an important game.
Cabillo over to Tupea for back-to-back threes. Couldn't quite make it count. Here's Melbourne. Strong finish from the youngster. Good to see her still going at the end of this game. So get another stop. This time Trotto with the follow-up. Couldn't get the pass to Brown. Jackie Trotto will take a lot of confidence from that. 55-point margin as we approach the end of a dominant performance from the Boomers. Abby Cabillo perhaps with one last look for the Caps. Over to Melbourne. Spins around Trotto, loses the handle. And Melbourne have 8 seconds to put the cherry on top in this game. Margins at 55 points at the moment. Lou Brown to inbound this one. But good hands there from Swain. They're not going to get away that easy. Good to see the refs also wearing Indigenous tops. Caps again get another stop. Melbourne for another 3. Can't quite jam it in, and Brown's just happy to hold things up, and why not? Because it's been a clinical performance from the Melbourne Boomers on the eve of the WNBL finals. Final score 107 Melbourne, 52 Canberra. A mark to the tune of 55 points. Laurie Chizzy, can I get your immediate thoughts? I mean, what's going through your mind seeing this scoreline and seeing the Boomers get this win on the eve of finals?
I just think, Julia, it sends such a message that the Boomers, we've talked about them all season. When you look at their list, how potent they are. But they've been on a real roller coaster ride, so it's up and down. But when they come out and play the way they did this afternoon, you know, watch out. There's not a lot of teams that I think could stop them because they have all the ingredients. They've got bigs that can score inside, that can shoot the 3 so they can pick and pop. They've got guards that can penetrate and shoot the 3. But what was so impressive for me is their defense, their rotations, the intensity that they played at. And they are just all smiles right now, and justifiably so.
Tess Madgen looks like she has a tear in her eye. We'll get around to the top scorers for this game. George leading all scorers with 23. Madbagor and Madgen with 19 apiece. Those 3 didn't play the last period as well. Allen with 11, Mitchell with 11 too. Brewster on the bench with 8 and Ernst with 9. And then you head over to the Caps, and you've got Sykes leading the way with 14 points, Griffin with 11, Melbourne with 9, and Tapia and Bunton with 6 apiece. So that's how the lay of the land is for these two teams, but it just was 100% the day for Melbourne and not the day for the Capitals. So I guess we talked about Melbourne and how good their performance was, but what do the Capitals have to work on heading into the finals next week?
Well, you know what? I don't even think there'd be much point in reviewing this game. It was just a complete game you want to forget about. So I think Paul Goris and his coaching staff will just go, okay, we're still in the finals. We got here for a reason, so let's move ahead like that. These are the things that we need to focus on. As soon as we finish, so we can look at the permeations now. We know that they're going to finish, they can't finish in the top 2, that they now are going to finish 3rd or 4th. If Adelaide win, then they will finish 4th. So they will then go, okay, now it's time for us to just forget about that. Let's refocus on the finals and who we're playing, what we need to do against them, their scouts and all that sort of thing. It's going to be tough, though, because they're going to have to build a little bit of momentum and a little bit of confidence back into their players.
Well, this match stats might be pretty reading for Paul Goris. We're going to take a look at the ladder first up. As you mentioned, Laurie, Boomers get up to 2nd, Capitals now 3rd. So a quick run through from you once again. What needs to happen tomorrow for in a Perth sense of things? How can they keep top spot?
Well, so Perth have to win tomorrow against Townsville, and they'll keep that top spot. If Perth lose to Townsville, then the Boomers will end up in top spot and Perth will go down to 3rd. For the Capitals, they need to rely on Adelaide, which is a game following us tonight, playing Southside. If Adelaide win, then Adelaide will move to 3rd spot and the Capitals will move down to 4th. So it's still up for grabs, but they're still in the playoffs. That's the bottom line. They're still in the playoffs. So, you know, it could be potentially the Capitals finish 4th and the Boomers finish 1st, and they meet again in the first round of playoffs.
It's all going to go down in the finals so far. We know that there's a lot going to happen in the finals. As we take a look at the match stats now, and it's not going to be pretty reading for Paul Goris. Take a look at this.
Well, the field goal for the Capitals did improve in the second half, and the Boomers dropped slightly, but still it was just an emphatic win. And you look at the assists, you look at the rebounds, you know, Melbourne just didn't do much wrong. You know, everything they put up, they were, you know, good shots to take, great ball movement, and it wasn't just one scorer, as we mentioned, you know, scoring 30, 40 points. It was a team across the board. How do you defend that? How do you go now and go, well, if we stop Kayla, we're going to be okay, because then Ezzy steps up and then Lindsay Allen steps up. So, you know, they've got a lot of areas covered, the Boomers, when they play like that.
100%, they certainly do. We spoke about, I suppose, Paul Goris's emotions after this one. I suppose, how does Guy Malloy review this one? I know they had a great performance, but there's certainly a lot to play out in the final sense of things too.
Well, I think it would be great to show a lot of positive clips from this, because these are things that they've been working on all season long. Their defensive rotations, how that's all clicked, and how they force Canberra out of their comfort zone. And then offensively, all the things that, you know, they're shooting the ball with comfort. They've got a variety of shots, some drives, some threes, some great inside outside. They really took advantage of their height, and so you'd want to show those and say, this is what happens when we do and when we play to the ability that we can, because we know that they've had games where they haven't shot the ball well and they've looked really like they're second guessing each other and what to do, but this just shows, wow, when they're on song, they're going to be tough to beat.
They certainly are going to be tough to beat, a tough finals opponent for anyone, that's for sure. But what about for the bench players? They played the whole fourth period for Melbourne. They would have taken a lot of confidence out of that. How much does it give that bench, you know, how much confidence does it give that bench heading into those finals?
Well, I think whenever you go into finals and you go deep, you never know what happens with foul trouble, you know, dare I say it, any injuries. And so any momentum, any confidence building that your bench players can have is going to certainly serve you down the track. And you know, sometimes if a player isn't playing well, you just need to sub them off, have a quick chat, let them take a deep breath. And so if you've got bench players that can come in and just continue on with the momentum, then, you know, that's going to hold you in really good stead. And so both teams got that today. You know, both coaches really emptied the bench and had some valuable minutes. And I liked how Canberra kept going. They didn't stop. Those bench players still went out hard and you know, tried to close up that margin. They got over 51 points, which was their low score last game, so that's a really good result.
Certainly is. They'll be looking at any positives they can, the Canberra Capitals. In the end, it was 107 Melbourne, 50 to the Canberra Capitals. We'll be back on the other side of this to wrap up the game and speak to a few stars of the show.
40 days and 40 nights and no sleep, and I lost my heart up in the north, but I found my soul at the bottom of the... Tick, tick, boom.
Welcome back to our coverage of Melbourne versus Canberra. It was the Boomers getting the job done by 55 points in the lead up to finals. And Guy Malloy will be a very happy coach, and Megan Husway is standing by courtside to chat to him about the game. Megan, it's over to you.
Thanks, Julia. Well, Guy, you had to win today, win and then some. That was the perfect scenario.
Yeah, well, we played a great first half, and look, we're really hot, and it was good for us, obviously, and the Caps were a little cold today. Not a normal Boomers Capitals game. They normally drag them out of fairs, and, you know, we got on top early and stayed that way. So pretty proud of the group, but fully expecting that should we run into Caps again in this finals, then they'll come back pretty darn hard.
Let's talk about the Boomers, because you did have to win to hopefully shore up a top 2 berth and the double chance, and I think a few things can still happen given 2 other games at play, but to be able to control the controllables, you must be really pleased with how your team came out literally from the outset.
Oh yeah, look, I mean it's been a bit of an emotional day today, to be honest. It's the last time I'll coach the team in regular season games, so I'm sort of on that countdown, and I knew the players were very focused. Our training over the past couple of weeks has been very good. I mean, everyone's disrupted with COVID in some way, shape or another, and but I knew we were focused. But then after that, whatever it is, I don't really know. I mean, I think we've played at 13 different venues this season, so home, away, wherever we've got to play from here on in, hopefully we'll be ready.
Just on the little bit of emotion you said you were feeling today, last regular home game, and you embark on a final series, you'll have home finals, but can you take me through, I guess what you've been thinking and feeling as the tenure does come to an end after, nearly a decade?
Well, I was working out today that I think I had a minimum of 3 games and a maximum of 7, and that kind of, I don't know why I'd do that, but I felt pretty sad about it, because I've been fortunate that I've just got some wonderful players that I've coached for a long time here, like Kayla and Ezzy and Tess and Panina and Lindsay, and then some guys that are newer to our program but have just been wonderful players. And so it's just really sad to think that you won't be around them so much in the future, and hopefully we end this one on a pretty high note. But look, I think the other thing is that we've been a pretty legit contender for the last 5 years or so, and we would hope to end this one as well as we can. But I know that if we do or we don't, it's all finished with for me. So I just hope that their careers carry on and keep going further forward.
Yeah. Of course they will. I guess you probably reflect on, and maybe you do it after the season comes to an end, but you weren't in finals when you took over at the Boomers. Actually, you made the finals the first year with a young gun team, but there were a few tough years after that. There were some tough times, and the club has built up, from there to being a perennial finalist. So there's been a lot happen over your journey.
Yeah, well, my initial intention was to coach the club for a year. That's what I thought I was doing, because I sort of had some other plans at the time. But look, it's a wonderful club. And I mean, with the change of ownership, we went through some really dark times, and Bull End Templestowe Basketball Club had to hand back the licence. They made that clear, and it was really dying on the vine. And as I said, the club nearly folded, and we had a couple of years there where we just didn't have a competitive roster, and we competed really hard but didn't get the results that we wanted. And when a new ownership group finally came in 2016, then the rebuild began. So I'm pretty proud of the rebuild. Obviously with COVID, the crowds aren't what they were, say, 2019, because ordinarily we'd be filling this venue. And so, at least hopefully for the finals, people come back and next year that they're there. But look, hopefully the legacy piece is that whoever does take over coaching the club, I think we're right up the top of the tree in terms of our program and standards and consistent excellence, and so hopefully it's in a much better place than where we began it.
There's no doubt about that, Guy. Let's look ahead to this week, Thursday, I believe. It's a top 2 finish. I think that's confirmed. Yeah,
I thought if we won, we were definitely top 2.
Yeah, okay. I'm not great at maths, so I've been trying to use my abacus all week. But do you watch the Adelaide game tonight? Do you watch Perth tomorrow? Do you what's it like? Like, do you pay a lot of attention to that? Do you just move on to planning for your next game?
Yeah, look, it's one of those coaching things. I always have tended to have the focus a little bit more on us, so I think that I'll spend the time a bit more in review of what we did here. And look, we had a pretty hot game, so that hopefully that's good viewing. The other teams we know fairly well, because you just... you played them recently and whatever. So I think the focus will stay on what we've got to do and try and make our standards as high as we can make them. And we don't... there's no gimmicks or tricks at this point. So I think that, you know, a little better execution, a bit of polish, bit of extra ball movement, get rid of a turnover or two, that kind of thing, and just make sure that the players are refreshed and really confident heading into the semi-finals.
Yeah, awesome. Guy, thank you so much for the chat. Really insightful. You could have 3, you could have 7. Let's hope it's 7 or however many games is the maximum to go. But congratulations.
So long as the last one's a win, then I'd be really happy with that. Whatever.
Hopefully see you back here for that.
Yeah, thanks, Megs. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Guy, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to Megan and Guy Malloy for their time there. Wow, what a refreshing insight to have that sort of insight from a coach, Laurie. I mean, what did you make of his comments and about his emotion about ending his career, his last regular season game for Melbourne? He must be so going through all the emotions right now. A great win, but also an end of an era too.
Absolutely, and I actually spoke to Guy this morning, and he was sort of passing on those sentiments to me. And you do, you know, I sort of get goosebumps when you think he's been there for 9 seasons, and I call it the, you know, the Guy Malloy farewell tour. But you could see there was emotion in there, and that he, you know, he is really proud of his group. And there have been, as Megan alluded to, and he did, many ups and downs in that journey. And to me, he said, and Kelsey Griffin mentioned that in our quarter time interview, that this season to him has been the most challenging coaching-wise, with all the postponements and rescheduling and venues and, you know, the whole gambit of things. So you know, it was great to see that, and he will get his team a bit of a taskmaster if he says, you know, we've got to cut down turnovers, get the ball moving. I don't think there was a whole lot there's always things to get better at, and he'll certainly have his team primed for whoever they play on Thursday.
Coaches are never happy with their performance, that's for sure. But one person that was happy with their performance, I'm sure, was Kayla George. Megan Hustwaite spoke to her earlier on.
Well, name a prouder, more pumped up, happier captain than Kayla George in all way.
I'm mediocre, never too high, never too low. Now, I know I'm pretty psyched. That was a really good win for us, but I mean, coming into finals, you know, like I said, never too high, never too low. We've got some tough games ahead, and look, if we meet Caps again, they'll be tough. So, like, we've just got to be ready. And I think that was just a good final hit out, especially our last home game, regular home game for Guy and for our fans. So yeah, we'll see how the cookie crumbles from here on out.
Well, there's a few ways the cookie can crumble, but you did all you could today for it to crumble in your favour. Could you have asked for a more dream scenario to come out, to hold them to 52? All your players got on, the starters had a spell, your benchies shone like the rising stars they are. It was a pretty perfect day.
Yeah, I looked over at Guy in the third. There was about 3 minutes, and I was like, Guy, if you're not going to give me a sub soon, I might have to walk myself off. I was pretty tired in that third, so I was happy to sit for the fourth. But look, yeah, I mean, ideal scenario. Us and the Caps have really great history, and, you know, our games played, and they're always really physical and intense. So bit of a one that I wasn't really going to predict today for the result, but happy with the win.
What kind of momentum, self-belief? You've been part of, I think, 6 consecutive final series now, Kayla. So what can it give this team going into, well, Thursday?
Yeah, I think, a win is a great win, but I think just, you know, bring our heads back down a little bit and, you know, never too high, never too low. I've said that 3 times in this interview, but never too high, never too low, kids. So I think that'll be our mentality, back to the drawing board, working hard at training, and just kind of not forgetting this win, but just like on to the next thing now. You know, accomplish one goal, what's the next goal?
So 2 games can impact the final standings, I think. Do you watch Adelaide's game and Townsville's, Perth's game? I'm all over the...
Yeah, I'll watch both games. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we're going, where we're playing. So got to watch them.
We know we'll see you on Thursday, and you're going to be in great shape. So well done, Kayla and the Melbourne Boomers. We'll see you next week.
You bloody ripper. Hey, Nana.
We love a Kayla George interview. She's always up and about, and so she should be. 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 100% from the field. 4 from 4 in from 2-point range, and then 5 from 5 from 3-point range. She's in game 301 of her WNBL career, and she looks like she could play 100 games more, and perhaps challenge Kelly Wilson for that games record.
Well, obviously, with a scoreline like that, they really enjoyed it, and so they should. But Kayla's so important to this team, as are, you know, a lot of them. But her leadership has to now, her experience has to come through and follow through in these final series, because that was one thing when they were in their low point. I just thought there was a lack of leadership on the court, especially at the offensive end. So she, as well as Tess Madgen, really need to be leaders, keep this group on an even keel, and then get them ready for the finals and to play the way they did. You know, that was just awesome to watch.
It was certainly awesome to watch. And I guess another superstar that was awesome in her own right was Ezzy Madbagor, and Megan also caught up with her just after the game as well.
The Boomers had stars all over the court this afternoon. One of those was Ezzy Madbagor. Could you have got a better warm-up to the finals?
Yeah, I don't know. I think tonight obviously just clicked for us. And we just stuck to what was working, and that just played out throughout all 4 quarters, which was great. You know, I think the thing was everyone turned up tonight. Kayla shot the lights out of it, which was great, and everyone else just followed. So it was a great game.
Nearly everyone got on. How important was it for the benchies to get some valuable court time? They made some huge contributions too, but how important was it also for the starters to get a bit of a rest?
You know, the bench players, they, you know, take it to us every day at practice, so I think they come ready and they stay ready for games. So it's not surprising that they made big shots when they did, but it was just great to see them out there and get a run, and obviously just prep the whole team for finals coming up.
As you're a WNBA champion, as we know, what would it mean to, in a couple of weeks' time, do that in the WNBL, and can you use your experience with Seattle over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think it would mean a lot. I think, obviously, I've been with the Boomers for 4 years, so you know, this one would mean a lot, especially in guys last season, and we've had the group together for a few years now, so I think it would just mean a lot to everyone. But just take one game at a time, and yeah, hopefully we get the championship.
It all starts this week. Well done today, Ezzy and the Boomers, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks, Megan. Thank you.
Thanks to Ezzy Madbagor and Megan Hustlate for that interview as well. Of course, that game's done and dusted, but we have got a few more games to come up, Laurie, before we head into finals. And the one coming up straight after this one is Adelaide Southside, Jenna O'Hay's swan song. What are you looking forward to in that game?
Well, for Southside, it is Jenna's last game, and, you know, she's been a wonderful, wonderful Australian player, legend of our game. So, you know, I really hope that she has a good game and can go out in style, and I'm sure that's what her teammates will be thinking. But for Adelaide now, they realize that the Capitals have lost, and that if they win, they go up to 3rd spot. And I think, you know, people are looking at perhaps if Perth win, they don't want to make that trip to Perth and play in front of the Red Army and Perth at home. So I think Adelaide, you know, and they played a great game against the Capitals just a few days ago. So they, again, will want to continue that form and make sure that their players are feeling good, feeling confident, and really pushing to get into that 3rd spot on the ladder.
Well, speaking of Perth, they've got Townsville coming up for the second time. They played them on Friday, and then they're coming up against them on Sunday as well. It was a close encounter between those two sides on Friday. So how do you think Perth are going to come out on Sunday?
Well, again, I was a bit surprised with the closeness of the game, and really it wasn't, you know, Townsville had their chances at the end to even tie it up or go into overtime. So, wow, you know, I think that's a bit of a scare for Perth, because it's so important. Top 2 is great, but the 1st spot means that if you do make it into the grand final, you then have home court advantage again. So that is a really coveted spot to finish first. And Perth, I think, will pull out all stops to make sure that happens tomorrow in our last game of the season to decide everything.
Of course, we have got Sydney Uni and Bendigo in amongst all that as well. A battle between the emerging teams. But Laurie, one word from you now. Who wins it?
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Well, I'll just go back to my tip from the very beginning before the season even started, and I tipped the Melbourne Boomers, so I'll stick with that.
It's a good tip to stick with, because they did get the job done at Parkville today to the tune of 55 points. A lot of scorers in the mix as well. Kayla George had a big game. So too Tess Madgen. And they sat for the whole 4th period as well. But of course, coming up next, Adelaide and Southside. Jenna O'Hay's last game. She's been a stalwart of the WNBL. She'll finish her career on 299 WNBL games. But she's certainly got a lot of energy in the tank. We can't wait to see what's next in store for her. So Adelaide Southside, Sydney Uni Bendigo, Perth Townsville. But for now, it's goodbye from Parkville, where Melbourne defeated the UC Caps in a big way. We can't wait to see you for Adelaide Southside and then finals next week, live on ABC, iView, Foxtel and KO. For now, it's goodbye from Julia, Laurie and the talented production team.